Here we are.
Okay, just started recording. So what's it like out there now?
So we're still, as of noon today on Saturday, we're still experiencing some significant issues on I-20, basically as a result of issues that we had overnight. We've got traffic flowing very slowly in the eastbound direction and a little more quickly in the westbound direction in the areas of Houghton. There's still a diversion, though, in place at the on-ramp to I-20 eastbound from Industrial Drive that State Police and Bossier City Police are working. The alternate route, of course, is US 80, and I've been on that from Industrial to now in downtown Shreveport. Traffic is flowing. It's slow at times, but it's moving. No major issues as far as backups. And so we are continuing to ask people to utilize US 80 if possible until thankfully the sunlight and our own efforts will, improve the conditions on I-20 as we go throughout the day.
And talk to me a little bit about the sunlight and now it's starting to warm up a little bit. What are you seeing in terms of that? Is it starting to melt?
Yeah, we're seeing quite a bit of melt off. We are seeing quite a bit of melt off occurring. We've got, in several places, some very clear wheel paths down to the pavement, and some areas fully clear. You can see pavement across. Some sections you'll see where you've got 2 lanes of traffic flowing side by side. Others, you've kind of got 1 lane in some areas. So, motorists for the most part are doing a really good job of following the path that has been created. And we'll start to see, some more open up as, the continued melt off occurs. We are still focusing a lot of our efforts on I-20, especially out at the Texas state line too, in addition to areas along, and east of Houghton.
So at this point, what would you tell the public? Like, what do you want drivers to know if they are planning to get out on the roads?
At this point, I know we're, 5-6 days into this, and I get that people have to get out for various reasons. People need medications and groceries at this point. So, if it's an essential trip, I understand. Just, take it slowly. A lot of areas, coming out of neighborhoods have improved significantly over the last day or so. So you could probably make it to your neighborhood grocery store and places like that. If you've got more of a long-term trip though, if it's an east-west trip, I would say to not travel on I-20 if you can, just because, we'll get a section open back up, traffic will be flowing again. And then what we've experienced is that there will be another occurrence of a jackknife or stuck 18-wheeler. So that's been the primary concern. So I would continue to suggest an alternate route of US 80 for your eastbound and westbound destinations. And then, if it's just somewhere in town, local streets and non-interstate roadways are, I will say for the most part, passable at this point. In shady areas such here in downtown on the sides that you're not getting sunlight yet, and in the shadows of the taller buildings, you've still got some frozen precipitation on the ground. So you've got to build up still, but we'll start to see a lot of that melt off as we go throughout the day today. Thankfully, we'll be up in the 40s and hold that for a longer period than we saw warm up yesterday. So that will help us out quite a bit too.
And my last question is, how much did the salting help overnight or yesterday?
It definitely helped to speed up some of the melting that we were already seeing. That was the primary purpose of putting out salt in the first place, is to prevent the wet precipitation from freezing, or prolong the period where before it actually freezes. Of course, when we saw the heavy winter storm move in, you got to a point where the accumulation was just too much. But salting definitely helped. We're focusing on some of the exits around the state line area, exits 3 and 5 as well, to help get some of those cleared so the 18-wheelers can exit off to those truck stops that they're trying to get to. And, you know, overall, just to try and keep traffic moving as best as possible on I-20.
Anything else you want to add or that you think is important?
You know, statewide, we've dispensed over 4.5 million pounds of salt and brine since all of this started. Some of that was the highest one-day totals that we as a department have ever dispensed as part of a snow and ice event. And so, you know, when people talk about this being historic, it's historic in many different ways. You know, we've had over 1,400 employees deployed as part of this event statewide, hundreds in each regional district that the state is broken up into. And so, you know, I think it's important. Sorry about that. I think it's important to not lose sight of, you know, what's really been the boots on the ground effort here. I mean, we're talking about, as far as DOTD goes, you know, thousands, over, you know, nearly 1,500, and then hundreds in each region of employees that have been away from their families, away from their homes, you know, on 12-hour shifts, and putting, you know, they're out in dangerous situations as well. And so I know it's frustrating for the folks at home and the folks that are trying to get here and there, but just keep in mind that there have been people nonstop working to try and get these roads to a point where it's passable for something that most of us have never experienced in Louisiana, certainly not North Louisiana. So, you know, I just don't want anybody to lose sight of the work that's being put in here.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you again soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Destiny.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.